All right, we're continuing to look at roots. In our last section, we were adding and subtracting them. Here what we're going to do is start multiplying them. So let's get started. The key idea is that when you want to multiply roots, you are allowed to multiply together what's underneath the house, and as we'll see in a little bit, also what's outside the house. But let's look at some real numbers and we'll see. So here if we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 6, we can multiply together what is inside of that root, which would be, we get 2 times 6 is the square root of 12. But now that we've created this, we've got to use our tools that we learned earlier to simplify. Now again, as always, I keep saying this, but you could turn 12 into 2 times 3. They're thinking of it as perfect squares. Either is fine, but you'd be able to bring out a 2 and you'd be left with the square root of 3 inside. Okay, so here on the second one, we're going to multiply what's inside the house and what's outside the house. And so we're going to get 8 square root of 36. Now, 36 is a perfect square, so I can bring a 6 out, and I think we've discussed this already. If something is out front, you can just multiply them together. So we get 48. Okay, let's try some. So on A here, I'm going to multiply what's in the house. Get the square root of 18. Yeah, I won't do a bunch of these like this, but I'll show you this one. So I break down 18. You remember we got a pair of 3's, and I can bring that outside, and we get this. Okay, here on B, let's see what we've got. We're going to have 6 because I'm multiplying outside the house. And what do I have there? 72. So 6 square root is 72. Now we're going to break this down. Well, I see what it's going to be, but I'm going to stop here because 6 times 6 means that I had a perfect square. So I have a pair of 6's. I can bring one out. So there was already a 6 out there. I multiply those together, and I would get that. Okay, more of the same. Or pause it as always if you want to. Got the square root of 50 out there. Now 50 is made up of 25 and 2, so I already see that. So in my mind, sometimes I'm seeing the perfect squares that they're talking about. So the 25 would let me bring a 5 out and have a 2 left over. Now again, you can always do it the long way. Okay, here on B, got 30 square root of 18. Okay, well this is made up of 9 and 2, so I can bring out a 3. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, do it the long way, but I'm kind of in my head doing their perfect square idea. So I can bring out a 3, and I would get this. So 30 was already out there, so 30 times 3 gets me 90. Okay, I don't know what's different about this. Doesn't appear to be anything. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with this. I don't see anything different about it. So same thing, we multiply the outsides, we multiply the insides, tidy it up, and we get this. Yeah, we can do a couple here, but again, I don't know. I don't see anything really different about this. Okay, 60, I'm not sure where we're going with this. Oh, now I do. Okay, so 60 I broke down because I didn't see what we were going to do. So I have a pair, let's put it in order. It's 2 times 3 times 5, that's what's in there. I can circle the 2's, and I can bring one of them out. So I already had a 6 out there, multiplied it by 2, I now have 12. And now I have to put back together what I had in there. That's not a subtraction, that's all multiply. So I was left with 15. The 3 times 5 I put back together. Alright, more of the same. We got 9 square root of 18. Now 18 I know is 9 and 2, so I'm going to just jump this here, knowing that the 9 is a perfect square, which let me bring out a 3, so I'd get 27 square root of 2. Okay, now we've introduced variables, but it's going to be the same thing. I'm multiplying what's in the house here on A, and I would get this, 24 over x to the fourth. Now that they show it as perfect squares again, but we can break this down long way, and we will get this. Now when we move to the triads, I'll show you the long way if you're not sure, if you don't remember. So multiplying what's in the house, I get to this. Now 100 has a perfect square root, so I can bring out a 10. I can bring out two y's, but there'd be one left inside. Okay, pause it if you already feel like you can do this and just want to check your answer. But I'm going to multiply this, get 18x to the fourth. Now, let me break this down long way. So, again, you don't need to do this. I said that many times. All right, so I can start lassoing my pairs here. And so I can bring out a 3, 1, 3, 1x, and another x. So I put that together, I'd get 3x squared and have a 2 left inside. Okay, on B here, I've got 100 y to the fifth. Now the 100 is a perfect square, so I'm going to just pull out a 10. Now if you had 5 y's there, I'd have to partner them up. Do you see that I could pull out 2 and I'd leave 1 behind? All right, here on A, I'll do a few more of these. I got 12x to the sixth. Okay. You can check this long way, but a 4 is the perfect square in there. I could bring out a 2x to the third, and I'd have a 3 left on the inside. Check that long way if you need to. Over here on B, I would get 36y to the seventh. So this breaks down to 6y to the third, and I'd have a y left over. Okay, just getting more complicated, but the same exact idea. I've multiplied the outsides, I've multiplied the insides. Now, I would have broken 108 down individually because I did not see that 36 would have gone into that. But so, same thing. They've just saw that they could bring out a 6p squared, and we get to this. So these are getting harder. Let me show these long way. So on the outside, I've got 48. On the inside, I've got 90x to the sixth. Okay, well actually this isn't too hard on the inside, but let's break it down. Okay. All right, I did the long thing with everything all showed, all written out. So I can bring out a 3 and start lassoing. I can bring out 3 x's. So I can bring out a 3 and 3 x's. On the inside, there's a 10, 2 times 5 left over. Now, on the outside, there had already been 48. So I need to multiply the 3 times the 48. Okay, so I get 144 x to the third square root of 10. All right, more of the same. I've got a 24 outside. The only thing that's changed is I have bigger numbers. Okay, 180. Yeah, I definitely did not see where this one was going. So I'm just going to do it here. I can partner up 2's, partner up 3's. So I can bring out a 2 and a 3, which is 6. So I'm going to wind up multiplying 24 by 6 because I'm bringing out a 6. And on the y's, I can bring out 2, and I'll have a y left on the inside. I also never used that 5, so he's still on the inside. Okay, so I brought out a 6, but there was already a 25 there. So I'll get 144. So this would be your final answer. Okay, not a lot changes here. This is just saying if you're squaring it, doesn't that mean you're doing the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Now, you could think of this, if you double up a square root, it's got to be 2, right? So if I have a square root and a square root, it's got to be 2. But if you weren't sure about that, you multiply what's inside the house, you get square root of 4. Well, that'll simplify down to 2. Now on the second one, because the negative is inside the parentheses, we're squaring all of this. So I'll let them show it to us. We're squaring everything inside of there. So this is what we're doing. Well, the two negatives cancel, and I'd get the square root of 121, get 11. Okay, more of the same here. If you wanted to multiply it under the house, you'd get the square root of 144. But if there's two square roots, it's just going to make that number. So a is just going to be 12. Then the same here. The negative is being squared, so it's going to be knocked out. Two of them will make a positive, and I'll just get the square root of 15. Okay, same here. This will just be 16, and this will make 20. Because the two negatives, so it's really negative square root of 20 times the negative square root of 20, and you just get 20. Okay, I'm not sure what we need some more with, but yeah, so we've multiplied here. Oh, I see what they're doing. So we had a repeat. You could have just, I think I would have done this if you weren't sure, or you can see that two of those make a 3, and all we had to do is multiply that 16 times 3. Okay. So so again, you can see this is 30, this is 9 square root of 36, or you can see that square root of 6 times itself is 6, and you'd get 54. Okay, now this would be 30 square root of 121, but because it's 11 square root of 11 times the square root of 11, it's just going to be this. So I believe that'll be 330. Now over here, 25 times an 8. Do you see this pattern we've got? I believe that's 200 if I did that correctly in my head. All right, we got some more here. This will be 30 times 7. I believe that's 210. Now this is getting multiplied by itself, so I'm going to have 16 times 6. I hope you're following this. I believe that's 96. Okay, this starts off pretty easy. I think in the very next section here we're going to ramp up our multiplication, have to FOIL a little bit, but it's always the same. Outside the house multiplies, inside the house multiplies. And then be sure you simplify.